The porch light was on when I pulled into the driveway. March in Fayetteville still carried winter's teeth. Wind through the long-leaf pines, sharp enough to find the gaps in my jacket. I cut the engine. The rental van's lift whined as it lowered my chair to the asphalt. 14 months since the last surgery. The VA said I was ready to leave. Ready for what? They didn't specify. Before we continue, tell me where you're watching from in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories reach. And if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe. New stories every day. Emma's house sat back from the street, 2-story colonial, white trim, the kind of place that shows up in real estate listings under family friendly. I'd only seen it twice before. Once at the housewarming, back when I could still walk with the cane. Once at Christmas, when they'd set up a ramp for me and Derek had complained about the cost of the lumber. Tonight, no ramp. Just 5 concrete steps and a bright red door. I rolled up the walkway. The chair's left wheel caught on a seam in the pavement. Nothing I couldn't handle, but it cost me a few seconds. By the time I reached the base of the steps, the door had opened. Derek stood in the frame. 35, clean-shaven, wearing a golf shirt even though it was 6:40 p.m. on a weekday. He looked at me the way you'd look at a package delivered to the wrong address. "Rob," he said. Not Dad, not even Robert, just Rob, flat as a canceled check. "Derek." I kept my hands on the wheels. "Emma said I could stay here while I sort things out. The VA released me this morning." "Right." He stepped onto the porch, pulled the door nearly closed behind him. "We need to talk about that." The wind picked up. Somewhere down the block, a dog barked twice and went silent. "I called her last week," I said. "She told me to come tonight. She didn't clear it with me." Derek folded his arms. "Look, Rob, I'm going to be straight with you. Your wheelchair will scratch the floors. We just had them redone. Brazilian cherry, $12,800. And frankly, we don't have the space. Jake's got his room, we've got our room, the 3rd bedroom is my home office. I work from there. I can't have you rolling in and out at all hours." I didn't move, didn't look away. 27 years in the Army teaches you when to hold your position. I'm her father, and I'm her husband. This is our house, our decision. He glanced over his shoulder, lowered his voice. "Listen, you've got VA benefits, right? Disability income. You can find a place. There are facilities. I'm 58, Derek, not 80. You're in a wheelchair. You need accommodations. We're not equipped for that." He straightened. "I'm sorry. That's just the reality." The door opened wider. Emma appeared behind him, one hand on the frame. She'd cut her hair shorter since Christmas, just past her shoulders now, dark like her mother's. She looked at me, then at Derek, then at the porch floor. "Em," I said. She opened her mouth, closed it. Derek shifted his weight, blocking more of the doorway. "Mom?" A small voice from inside. "Jake, 8 years old, my grandson. The kid who used to FaceTime me from the VA hospital to show me his Lego builds." He appeared in the gap between Derek and Emma, blonde hair sticking up in the back, wearing pajama pants with dinosaurs on them. "Grandpa!" He tried to push past Derek. Derek's hand came down on his shoulder, firm. "Jake, go to your room." "But Grandpa's here. Room. Now." Jake looked at me. I gave him a small nod. He turned and ran up the stairs, disappearing into the upper hallway. I heard a door close. Emma still hadn't spoken. "I'll find a motel," I said. Derek's shoulders relaxed. "That's probably best. There's a Motel 6 off Bragg Boulevard. I know where it is." I rolled backward, turned the chair, started down the walkway. Behind me, I heard Emma say something too quiet to make out. Derek's reply was louder. "We talked about this. You agreed." I didn't look back. The parking lot at First Baptist Church was empty, except for a white sedan near the Fellowship Hall entrance. I parked the van under a streetlight, locked the doors, lowered the seat back as far as it would go. The wheelchair folded into the passenger footwell. I pulled my field jacket over my chest. Sleep didn't come. I kept seeing Jake's face in the doorway, kept hearing Derek's voice. I have no place for an invalid. At some point past midnight, I pulled out my phone. The screen's brightness hurt my eyes. I scrolled through contacts, past the VA case manager, past Emma, past 3 guys from my old platoon who hadn't answered a text in 2 years. Marcus Hale, General, work. I'd saved the number in 2008 after he sent the letter. Before that, I just had his personal cell, the one he'd given me in Germany when they'd medevaced him out of Ramadi. The letter had come on official stationery, Fort Bragg, his new posting. He'd made colonel by then. The note was short. If you ever need anything, call me. I mean it. I'd never called. I tapped the contact. Didn't dial. Just stared at the name. Ramadi, June 2006. 112 degrees in the shade, except there wasn't any shade. We were running convoy security, Route Michigan, third vehicle in the line. The IED hit the lead Humvee at 14:20 hours. I was in the trail vehicle. By the time we dismounted, the shooting had started. Roof, alley, windows, everywhere and nowhere. Hale was a captain then, 29 years old, second deployment, Princeton degree, the kind of officer who asked your opinion before making a call. He'd been in the lead vehicle. When I reached it, he was on the ground beside the wreck, left leg shredded below the knee, one of his guys draped over him, already gone. I pulled him out, 400 meters to the rally point, through a street that sounded like the world ending. He was conscious the whole way. Kept saying, "Leave me, get to cover." I didn't leave him. He lived, lost the leg below the knee, prosthetic now, the kind you'd never notice unless you watched him walk on gravel. Bronze Star for me. He wrote the citation himself. I owe you my life. I closed the contact screen, put the phone face down on my chest. Outside, the wind moved through the pines. A car passed on the main road, headlights sweeping across the van's interior, then darkness again. I reached into my jacket pocket. My fingers found the folded piece of paper, glossy, the kind they use in elementary schools. I unfolded it carefully. Even in the dim glow of the streetlight, I could see the crayon lines. Stick figures, one in a wheelchair, one small with yellow hair. Red letters across the top, uneven and earnest. I love you, Grandpa. Jake had left it on my windshield at Christmas, tucked under the wiper blade. I'd kept it in the glove box of every vehicle I'd driven since. I refolded it, put it back in my pocket, pulled the jacket tighter, closed my eyes. Didn't sleep. The Veterans Lodge sat 3 blocks off Bragg Boulevard. A single-story strip of 12 rooms painted the color of wet sand. The sign out front advertised weekly rates and free Wi-Fi. The woman at the desk, 60-ish, reading glasses on a chain, looked at my chair, then at my face, then back at the chair. You got ID and a credit card? I slid both across the counter. She ran the card without asking questions. $280 a week, first and last up front. She handed me a key attached to a plastic tag with the number 7 embossed in faded gold. Accessible rooms at the end, ramps on the side. Thank you. You need help with bags? I'm fine. The room smelled like industrial cleaner and old carpet. 1 double bed, 1 desk, 1 TV bolted to the wall, 1 bathroom with grab bars that had been installed sometime in the previous decade. The window faced the parking lot. I could see the van from the bed. I unpacked what I had. 3 changes of clothes, toiletries, medications, a laptop the VA had issued for telehealth appointments, chargers. Everything fit in 2 duffel bags. I'd sold the rest before leaving the rehab facility. Furniture, books, my wife's good dishes, the ones Emma said she didn't have room for. Got $840 at the estate sale. It had covered the van rental and the first week here. My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Hi, Grandpa. It's Jake. I'm using my school tablet. Dad doesn't know. Are you okay? I stared at the screen, typed carefully with 1 thumb. I'm okay, buddy. Staying at a place nearby. Are you okay? 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Dad said you left because you wanted to. Mom cried last night. I heard her in the bathroom. I closed my eyes, opened them, typed. I didn't want to leave, but I'm working on things. You take care of your mom, okay? Okay, I have to go. Love you, Grandpa. Love you too, Campion. The dots vanished. I set the phone on the desk, screen up. Emma came 2 days later. I heard the knock at 11:20 a.m. 3 soft raps. Hesitant. I opened the door. She stood on the concrete walkway in her work scrubs, blue with a name badge clipped to the pocket. Her eyes were red. Hi, Dad. Come in. She stepped inside, looked around. I watched her take inventory. The bare walls, the single chair by the window, the walker folded in the corner that I used when the chair's battery died. You didn't have to. She stopped, started again. I'm sorry, about the other night. Sit. I gestured to the chair. She sat. I stayed in the wheelchair a few feet away. Derek didn't tell me he was going to say that, she said. I thought we were going to talk about it first. When you called last week, I thought... Her voice caught. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. I should have said something. Why didn't you? She looked at the floor. He was right about the floors. We just had them done. And the space issue is real. Jake's room is full of his stuff. Our room is packed. Derek's office has all his work equipment. Emma. She stopped. Do you believe that? Silence. Outside, a truck rumbled past on the boulevard. She twisted her wedding ring, silver band with 3 small diamonds. I'd helped her pick it out 6 years ago, before the deployment that broke my back. I don't know what I believe anymore, she said quietly. I reached into the desk drawer, pulled out my phone, hit record on the voice memo app, set it on the desk between us, screen down. Tell me about the house, I said. What do you mean? Your mom left it to you. The one on Morganton Road. You sold it 18 months ago. Her face changed. How did you? I'm listed on the deed. Was listed. County records are public. I kept my voice level. You got $187,000. I was in surgery when the sale went through. You never mentioned it. Dad, Where's the money, Em? She looked away. We used it for the new house. Down payment, renovations, closing costs. All of it? Most of it. Your mother wanted you to have that house. We bought it in 1996. Paid it off in 2014, 2 months before she died. I know. Her voice was barely audible. But Derek said, he said the neighborhood was going downhill. Property values dropping. He said we should sell while we could still get a good price. Invested in something better. Invested in his something better. She didn't answer. I picked up the phone, stopped recording. Does Derek know you're here? No. He's going to ask. I'll tell him I went to the pharmacy. She stood, pulled her purse over her shoulder. I should go. Emma, wait. She stopped at the door, hand on the knob. If you need anything, I said, call me. Not Derek. Me. She nodded without turning around. Then she was gone. I spent the afternoon at the Fayetteville Public Library, 3rd floor, computers for public use. It took 40 minutes to access my old bank account. The joint one I'd opened with Emma after her mother died, meant for emergencies. Last activity, January 2024. Withdrawal, $8,400. Memo line, Home Repair Fund, DMDM Derek Morrison. I clicked through transaction history. The money had been transferred out in 3 installments, December, January, February. Each one labeled differently. Emergency repair, contractor deposit, final payment, flooring. I opened a new tab, pulled up the county property appraiser, searched Emma's address. The renovation permit history loaded. 1 permit, November 2023, $9,200 estimated cost. Contractor listed as Morrison Home Solutions, LLC. Derek's company. I took screenshots, saved them to a thumb drive, printed 2 copies. At the reference desk, I asked the librarian if she knew any real estate attorneys. She wrote down 3 names. The second one had a note. Does pro bono for vets. Back at the motel, I found Mrs. Dalton's number in my phone. Emma's next-door neighbor, the woman who'd brought me iced tea at the Christmas visit, who'd asked about my deployments and actually listened to the answers. I called. She picked up on the second ring. Robert, is that you? Yes, ma'am. I hope I'm not bothering you. Not at all. Are you all right? Emma mentioned you'd been in the hospital. I'm out now. Listen, I need to ask you something. It's about the night I came to their house, March 12th. You were home that evening? A pause. I was. I saw the van in the driveway. I was going to come say hello, but then I saw... She stopped. You saw Derek turn me away? Yes. Her voice hardened. I couldn't hear what he said, but I saw him block the door. I saw you leave. I wanted to call, but I didn't have your number. Would you be willing to write down what you saw? Just the facts. Date. Time. What you observed. Of course. Are you... Robert, are you in some kind of trouble? No, ma'am, but I might need help proving I'm not. I'll have it ready tomorrow. Do you want me to mail it, or... I can pick it up. Is 2 o'clock all right? Perfect. I'll make coffee. That night, Jake's tablet message came at 8:47 p.m. Grandpa, Dad took my tablet away. He said I'm not allowed to talk to you anymore. He's really mad. I'm using Mom's old phone. She doesn't know. I'm scared. My hands tightened on the armrests. Don't be scared, buddy. You didn't do anything wrong. Just be good for your mom, okay? I'll see you soon. Promise? I looked at the phone, at the blank walls, at the drawer where I'd stored the printed bank records, the screenshots, the lawyer's name on a folded piece of paper. I promise. The message showed as read. No reply came. I opened my contacts again, scrolled to the name I'd avoided for 2 days. Marcus Hale, General, work. I typed a message, kept it short. General Hale, this is Robert Kendall. Sergeant, 3rd Battalion, 2006 Ramadi. I need advice, not an emergency. If you have time, I'd appreciate a call. I hit send before I could second guess it. Set the phone on the desk, face down, waited. 72 hours, that's how long I waited. The first day I checked my phone every 20 minutes. The second day, every hour. By the third day I stopped checking. I told myself Hale was busy. General officer, Fort Liberty, command responsibilities. I told myself the message had gone to some assistant who filtered non-urgent requests. I told myself it didn't matter. I was lying. The wheelchair's left rear wheel locked up on day 4. I was crossing the parking lot, heading to the van for a grocery run, when I heard the snap, high and sharp, like a branch breaking. The chair lurched. I caught myself on the armrest, but the wheel wouldn't turn. I tried reversing. Nothing. The bearing assembly had sheared. I called the VA medical equipment line. 40-minute hold. When I finally got through, the technician said they could schedule a repair in 2 weeks, maybe 3. Emergency replacement would require a doctor's authorization and approval from eligibility services. 2 weeks? That's the earliest opening, sir. We're short-staffed. I can't walk. I understand. You can request a loaner through your primary care coordinator. That usually takes 5 to 7 business days. I hung up. The walker worked for short distances. Room to bathroom, bathroom to desk. Anything farther made my back scream. The surgeries had stabilized the spine, but the nerves remembered everything. By the second day without the chair, I couldn't make it to the van. On the third day, I ran out of bread. I called Emma. Voicemail. Left a message. It's Dad. Wheelchair's broken. Could use some help with groceries. Call me back. She didn't. I called again that night. Voicemail again. This time I didn't leave a message. Jake's messages had stopped completely. I'd sent 3 texts to the old phone number Emma had used before her upgrade, all undelivered. Either she'd found it, or Jake had given up. On day 6, I counted what I had left. $460 in checking. Rent due in 8 days, $280. That left $180 for food, gas, medications. My next VA disability payment would hit on the 1st, 11 days away. I opened the desk drawer, pulled out the small wooden box I'd carried since Germany. Inside, my wife's locket, gold-plated, tarnished at the edges. She'd worn it every day for 20 years. I'd taken it off her body at the funeral home in 2015, held it in my palm while Emma signed papers in the other room. I drove to the pawn shop on Murchison Road, used the walker to get from the van to the counter. The man behind the glass, tattooed arms, ponytail, looked at the locket, weighed it, checked the clasp. $50. It's worth more than that. Not to me. He slid it back across the counter. Plated, not solid. Clasp is loose. I'll give you $50. I took the $50. Mrs. Dalton's statement sat in a manila folder on the desk, next to the bank records and screenshots. 2 pages, handwritten, dated, and signed. She'd included her phone number and a note at the bottom. If you need me to testify, I will. I'd started organizing everything into a single dossier. Chronological order. Emma's mom's death certificate, 2015. Deed to the Morganton Roadhouse. Sale records. Bank statements showing the joint account transfers. Permit records for Derek's renovation. Mrs. Dalton's eyewitness statement. I'd added a timeline. 1-page, bullet points, dates, and dollar amounts. And December 2023, $2,800 withdrawn, labeled emergency repair. January 2024, $3,200 withdrawn, labeled contractor deposit. February 2024, $2,400 withdrawn, labeled final payment flooring. Total, $8,400. I printed a second copy of everything. Put one set in the folder. Stored the other in a Ziploc bag, sealed, hidden in the lining of my duffel. At night, when I couldn't sleep, I ran through the math. $8,400. Enough to rent a small apartment for 6 months. Enough to fix the chair and buy a used car. Enough to take Jake to a baseball game, buy him a decent birthday present. Help Emma if Derek ever... I stopped that line of thinking. The memory came on day 7. I didn't invite it, but it came anyway. September 2015, Fort Bragg Cemetery, Section 4, Row 18. The chaplain spoke for 12 minutes. I didn't hear any of it. Emma stood beside me in a black dress, holding tissues she didn't use. She was 23. She'd flown back from grad school, occupational therapy program at ECU second year. Her mother had been dead for 48 hours. After the service, after the flag was folded and handed to Emma, after the other mourners drifted away, we stood by the grave. Just the two of us. The groundskeepers waited at a respectful distance with their equipment. "I should have been here," Emma said. "You were in school." "You couldn't have known." The stroke was sudden, but she'd been tired for weeks. I should have noticed. "Em, don't." She turned to me. Her eyes were dry, but her hands shook. "I'm all you have now. You've got your own life. I mean it, Dad. You and me. That's the family now." She grabbed my hand. I was still using the cane then, before the IED that would come 4 years later. "You're never going to be alone, I promise." I believed her. Day 8. The lawyer's office called, the one the librarian had recommended, the pro bono guy. I'd left a message 3 days earlier. The receptionist said he had an opening next Thursday at 2 p.m. if I wanted to come in for a consultation. I said yes. Day 9. I ate canned soup for breakfast and dinner, skipped lunch. Day 10. I found an old letter in the box where I'd kept the locket. Envelope, Fort Bragg letterhead, postmarked 2008. I'd read it a dozen times, but I read it again. "Sergeant Kendall, I don't have the words to properly thank you for what you did in Ramadi. The doctors say I'll walk again, different than before, but I'll walk. That's because of you. I'm heading to Command and General Staff College next month, then a posting at Fort Riley. If you ever need anything, and I mean anything, you have my number. Don't hesitate. Respectfully, CPT Marcus J. Hale, 16 years. I'd never called." I folded the letter, put it back in the box, opened my phone, looked at the message I'd sent, still showing as delivered, not read. I set the phone face down on the desk. It buzzed at 11:43 p.m. I was half asleep, slouched in the chair by the window when the vibration jolted me awake. I grabbed the phone. Unknown number. Text message. "Tomorrow, 1400 H. Gate 3, Fort Liberty. Come alone. Bring ID. MH. I read it twice, then a third time. My hands were shaking. I typed back, "I'll be there." 3 dots appeared immediately. Good. "See you then." I set the phone on the desk, stared at it. The screen went dark. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I borrowed a manual wheelchair from the Veterans Lodge office. Older model, heavy, no power assist. The manager said I could use it as long as I needed. I loaded it into the van, checked the gas gauge. Quarter tank. Enough. At 1:15 p.m., I pulled into the visitor lot at Gate 3. The MP checked my ID, asked my business. I said I had an appointment with General Hale's office. He made a call, nodded, handed back my ID and a visitor pass. "Park in Lot C. Someone will meet you." I parked, waited. At 1:58, a staff car pulled up. Black sedan, army plates. The driver got out, opened the rear door. A man in ACU stepped out. Marcus Hale, taller than I remembered, graying at the temples, 2 stars on his shoulder boards. He walked toward the van, smooth gait, no limp. The prosthetic leg was invisible under the uniform. I rolled down the window. He stopped 3 feet away, looked at the chair in the passenger seat, looked at me. "Sergeant Kendall." "General, you look like hell. I've had better months." He didn't smile. "Let's talk inside. There's a conference room in Building 3. Private. I can follow you. My driver will take you. I'll meet you there." He gestured to the staff car. 15 minutes. He walked back to the sedan, got in. The car pulled away. The driver, a specialist, young, no more than 25, helped me transfer to the manual chair, loaded it into a van that appeared from somewhere behind the gate. "General said to take good care of you, Sergeant." "I'm not a sergeant anymore." "He said you were." The specialist closed the door. "That's good enough for me." Building 3 was gray concrete and narrow windows, the kind of structure designed for function, not comfort. The specialist wheeled me through 2 security checkpoints, down a hallway that smelled like floor wax and old coffee, into a conference room at the end. Small space, 1 table, 6 chairs, a flag in the corner, no windows. "General will be here in 5, Sergeant." The door closed. I was alone. I pulled the manila folder from my lap, set it on the table. 14 pages, 3 months of my life reduced to paper and ink. My hands were steadier than I expected. The door opened at 2:03 p.m. Hale entered, closed it behind him, turned the lock. He'd removed his cap. His eyes went to the folder, then to me. "Coffee?" "No, sir." He sat across from me, folded his hands on the table. "You said you needed advice." "I need more than advice." I slid the folder across to him. "But I'll start there." He opened it. Didn't say anything. Turned the first page, then the second. I watched his face. Trained, neutral, command mask, the expression of a man who'd reviewed after-action reports in combat zones. He read every word. Took him 11 minutes. When he finished, he closed the folder, looked at me. "Your daughter's husband stole from you." "Yes, sir." "And blocked you from living in her home after you were released from VA care." "Yes, sir." "Do you have recordings? Beyond the written statement from the neighbor?" "1. My daughter visited me at the motel. I recorded the conversation. She admitted her husband pressured her into selling the house I'd co-owned with my late wife. Said he convinced her the money was for renovations. Did she consent to being recorded? North Carolina's a one-party state. I consented." Hale nodded, opened the folder again, scanned the bank records. $8,400. Not enough for criminal fraud charges. Barely meets the threshold. Civil case, probably. But it's elder financial abuse. That changes the calculus. I'm 58. Vulnerable adult. You're disabled. You were in a care facility. You had limited access to your accounts. Legally, that's abuse. He tapped the page. Your daughter authorized these transfers? Joint account. Both our names. But she says her husband handled it. And did you authorize him? No. Then it's theft by proxy. He leaned back. What do you want, Rob? You want your money back? You want your daughter to leave him? You want him arrested? I met his eyes. I want my grandson to be safe. I want my daughter to see what he's doing. And I want Derek Morrison to understand that I'm not invisible. Hale was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I can't intervene in a civilian domestic dispute. Not officially. Not as a general officer. I know. But I can make sure you have the resources to fight this the right way. He pulled his phone from his pocket. Do you have legal representation? Consultation scheduled. Pro bono attorney. Thursday. Cancel it. He typed something. I'm sending you a contact. Captain Sarah Vickers, JAG Corps. She does pro bono work for veterans outside her official duties. Specializes in elder abuse and family law. She'll take your case. My throat tightened. Sir, I can't afford... You're not paying, I am. He sent the message. My phone buzzed. Call her tonight. Tell her I referred you. General, I owe you my life, Rob. His voice didn't change, but something behind his eyes did. That's not a figure of speech. You carried me 400 meters while people were trying to kill us. You saved my career, my family, everything I have. So when you tell me some small-time house flipper stole from you and threw you out like garbage, I'm going to make sure you get help. That's not charity. That's a debt. I didn't know what to say. He stood, pulled a business card from his pocket, wrote something on the back, slid it across the table. Second number is my direct line, not the office. If you need anything, you call. I took the card. One more thing. He walked to the door, paused. Do you trust me? Yes, sir. Then trust me when I say Morrison's going to hear from people he doesn't want to hear from. Soon. Stay patient. He opened the door. The specialist was waiting outside. 48 hours. I called Captain Vickers that night. She answered on the second ring, listened without interrupting while I summarized the situation. She asked 3 questions. Had I filed a police report? No. Did I have copies of all financial records? Yes. Was I willing to pursue civil action? Yes. She scheduled a meeting for Monday. Said she'd review the dossier over the weekend. On Saturday, I got the wheelchair repaired. The VA had bumped me up the priority list. Someone had flagged my file as urgent. I didn't ask who. On Sunday, I heard nothing. Monday morning, 9:47 a.m. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Mr. Kendall? A woman's voice, professional, clipped. This is Angela Torres, Adult Protective Services, Cumberland County. I'm calling regarding a report filed concerning financial exploitation and neglect. Do you have a few minutes to speak? I sat up straighter. Yes, ma'am. I understand you recently attempted to reside with your daughter and son-in-law following medical discharge and were denied entry. Is that correct? Yes. And you've identified financial irregularities involving a joint account? Yes. I'd like to schedule a home visit to discuss this further. Are you available tomorrow at 10 a.m.? I am. She took my address, said she'd bring paperwork, hung up. I stared at the phone. Someone had filed a report. I hadn't, which meant Hale, or someone he'd contacted, had started the process without asking me. I should have felt relieved. I felt something else, like watching artillery coordinates getting called in. You don't stop it. You just wait for the impact. The convoy arrived on Tuesday. I didn't see it. Emma called at 3:12 p.m., voice shaking. Dad, what did you do? What are you talking about? There are military vehicles outside my house, 5 of them. A general just knocked on my door. My chest tightened. What did he say? Nothing yet, Derek answered. The general asked for him by name, handed him an envelope, then walked back to his vehicle. They're just sitting there. Dad, what is this? I don't know. I wasn't lying. Hale hadn't told me he'd do this. What did Derek do? He opened the envelope. He went white. He won't show me what's inside. Her voice dropped. He's scared. I've never seen him scared. Where's Jake? Upstairs. He's watching from his window. She paused. Dad, the general. He's looking at the house, just standing there next to the vehicle looking. Emma, listen to me. Whatever's in that envelope, it's not a threat. It's information. Information about what? About what Derek did to me. About the money. About everything. Silence. Then, you went to the military? I went to someone I trust. Dad. Emma, I need you to do something. When the convoy leaves, I need you to read what's in that envelope. All of it. Don't let Derek hide it from you. I can't. Yes, you can. I kept my voice steady. You promised me, remember? After your mom died. You said I'd never be alone. She didn't answer. Read the envelope, Em. The line went quiet. I could hear voices in the background. Derek's, raised, angry. Then Emma's voice, distant. I have to go. She hung up. I called Hale's direct line. He answered on the first ring. I assume you heard, he said. Emma called. Good. She needed to see it. What was in the envelope, sir? Copies of your dossier, bank records, timeline, Mrs. Dalton's statement, and a note. What did it say? 3 words. He saved me. Hale paused. Morrison needed to understand who he's dealing with. Not you. Me. I wanted him to know that what he did to you, he did to someone a 2-star general considers family. Sir, I didn't ask you to. I know, but you didn't need to. His tone shifted. The convoy was a transport exercise. Routine. We happened to be in the area. I happened to stop. Everything by the book. But Morrison doesn't know that. He's going to spend the next 72 hours wondering if he's under investigation. Wondering if I'm going to make a call to the county prosecutor. Wondering if his business license is going to get audited. Is it? I haven't decided yet. He let that sit. How did your daughter sound? Shaken. Good. She needs to be. She's been letting him make decisions for too long. Hale's voice softened slightly. Give her 48 hours. She'll come around. And if she doesn't, then we move to phase 2. Captain Vickers files a civil suit. APS completes their investigation. We let the system work. He paused. But I think she'll come around. She's your daughter, Rob. She's got your spine. She just forgot it for a while. I didn't answer. Get some rest, Hale said. This is going to get louder before it gets quiet. He hung up. I sat in the chair by the window, phone in my lap, and watched the parking lot. The sun was dropping behind the pines. Long shadows stretched across the pavement. Somewhere across town, Derek Morrison was holding an envelope. Somewhere in that house, Emma was deciding what to believe. Somewhere upstairs, Jake was watching soldiers from his window. I closed my eyes, waited. Emma came on Thursday. I heard the knock at 9:15 a.m. Firm, deliberate, nothing like the hesitant taps from her last visit. I opened the door. She stood there in jeans and a sweatshirt, hair pulled back, eyes red but dry. Jake was beside her, holding a backpack decorated with cartoon sharks. "Can we come in?" I stepped back. They entered. Jake went straight to the desk chair, sat down, put the backpack in his lap. Emma stood in the middle of the room, arms crossed. "I read it," she said. "The envelope. Everything." She pulled a folded stack of papers from her purse. The dossier, creased from handling. The bank records, the timeline. Mrs. Dalton's statement. She dropped it on the desk. I found more. I waited. "Derek has a personal email account I didn't know about. He forgot to log out on the kitchen computer Tuesday night. After the convoy left, he was distracted. I went through his sent folder." Her voice was flat, controlled. "There are emails to a realtor in Raleigh, from January. He was looking at houses, 2-bedroom condos. He never mentioned you. Not once." Jake was staring at the floor. "He was planning to move," I said. "Planning to move and not tell you where we went." She sat on the edge of the bed, hands in her lap. "He wrote to the realtor. Wife's father is a complication. Looking to relocate without forwarding address." Those were his words. A complication. I sat in the wheelchair, kept my distance, gave her space. "I confronted him last night," she said. "Showed him the emails. He said I was invading his privacy. Said you'd poisoned me against him. Then he said..." She stopped. Breathed. "He said if I took your side, he'd file for sole custody of Jake. Said I was emotionally unstable, that I'd abandoned my husband for my deadbeat father." "Emma." I recorded it. She pulled her phone from her pocket, set it on the desk. "I remembered what you said, about evidence. So I hit record before I showed him the emails. Got the whole thing. 23 minutes. Jake looked up. Mom yelled at him, I heard. Emma's face crumpled for a second. She recovered. "You shouldn't have heard that, baby." "He broke a plate," Jake said quietly. "It was loud." I looked at Emma. She nodded. "He threw it at the wall, missed me by 2 feet. That's when I grabbed Jake and left." "Where did you go?" "My friend Monica's house. We stayed there last night." She wiped her eyes. "I can't go back, Dad. I can't let Jake live in that house with him." "You don't have to. I don't have anywhere else to go. Monica said we can stay a few days, but she's got her own family, her own problems. We'll figure it out." She looked at me, really looked, for the first time since she'd walked in. "I should have believed you. Back in March. I should have opened the door myself. You're here now." I let him control everything, the house, the money, who I talked to. "I stopped calling you because it was easier than fighting with him." Her voice broke. "I'm so sorry." Jake got up, walked over to her, put his hand on her shoulder. 8 years old, already learning to hold things together. "It's okay, Mom." She pulled him close, pressed her face into his hair. I looked away, gave them a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was steadier. "What do I do?" "You testify," I said. "Captain Vickers, the Attorney General Hale connected me with. She's filing a civil suit. Elder financial abuse, theft by conversion, intentional infliction of emotional distress. She needs your testimony. Against Derek." "Yes." She was quiet for a long time. Then, "Will I have to see him? In court?" "Probably. At the hearing." She nodded slowly. "Okay. You're sure?" "No." She looked at me. "But I'm doing it anyway." The preliminary hearing was scheduled for Monday, October 14th, 10 a.m., Cumberland County Courthouse. Captain Vickers met me in the lobby at 9:30. She was younger than I expected, early 30s, dark hair in a bun, uniform pressed sharp. She shook my hand, sat down beside me on the bench. "Your daughter's here. She's in the witness waiting room with her son. The bailiff will bring her in when we're ready." "How does this work?" "Judge hears both sides. We present evidence, financial records, recordings, witness statements. Derek's attorney will challenge. Judge decides if there's enough to move forward to trial. She pulled a folder from her briefcase. Derek's lawyer reached out yesterday. They want to settle. For how much? Full restitution. $8,400 plus $3,000 in damages. Total $11,400. No admission of wrongdoing. Standard confidentiality clause. I thought about it. What do you recommend? Depends what you want. If you want him punished, we go to trial. If you want your money back and a clean break, we settle. Can we add conditions, such as restraining order, no contact with me, and Emma gets the option to nullify the confidentiality clause if he tries for custody. Vickers wrote that down. I can propose it, but he has to agree. Tell his attorney if he doesn't agree. We go to trial, and I bring Mrs. Dalton to testify in open court. I bring the APS investigator. I bring Emma to describe the plate he threw. See how that plays for a judge. She smiled slightly. I'll make the call. Derek arrived at 9:55. I saw him through the lobby window. Khakis, blue blazer, no tie. His attorney was older, gray suit, leather briefcase. They walked past me without making eye contact. Derek's jaw was tight. At 10:10, we were called into the courtroom. Small room, wood paneling, state seal on the wall. Judge Martinez presided, 50-ish, reading glasses, no patience for delays. She asked both sides if they were ready. Vickers stood. Your Honor, the parties have reached a preliminary settlement agreement, subject to your approval. The judge looked at Derek's attorney. Counselor? Yes, Your Honor. We've agreed to terms. Let's hear them. Vickers read from her notes. Defendant agrees to pay plaintiff $11,400 in restitution and damages, payable within 30 days. Defendant agrees to a no-contact order prohibiting communication with plaintiff. Plaintiff's daughter retains the right to disclose details of this case if defendant initiates custody proceedings. The judge looked at Derek. Mr. Morrison, do you understand these terms? Yes, Your Honor. And you agree to them voluntarily? Derek hesitated. His attorney whispered something. Derek nodded. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Kendall? The judge turned to me. Do you accept these terms? I looked at Derek. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Yes, Your Honor. Then I'll approve the settlement. Clerk will prepare the order. You'll both receive copies within 5 business days. She closed the file. Mr. Morrison, I want to be clear. If you violate the no-contact provision, you'll be held in contempt. If you attempt to leverage this case in a custody dispute, I'll personally ensure it backfires. Do you understand? Yes, Your Honor. Good. We're adjourned. The gavel came down. Outside the courtroom, Emma was waiting with Jake. Vickers had arranged for them to avoid the main lobby. They'd come through a side entrance. Emma hugged me without saying anything. Jake grabbed my hand. Did you win, Grandpa? Yeah, Campion, we won. Derek walked past us 30 feet away, heading for the exit. His attorney was on his phone. Derek looked straight ahead. Didn't turn. Emma watched him go. He's going to hate me for this. He already did, I said. You just didn't see it. She nodded. What now? Now you figure out what you want. Divorce, separation, whatever feels right. Captain Vickers can refer you to a family lawyer. I don't have money for a lawyer. You will. $11,400. Half of it's yours. It came from your mother's house. Dad, take it. Get Jake into a stable place. File the papers. Start over. She looked at Jake, then back at me. Will you help me? Every step. We left through the side exit. The October sun was bright, cool wind coming off the pine trees that lined the courthouse lawn. Jake ran ahead, found a pine cone, brought it back to show me. Look, Grandpa, it's huge. I took it, turned it over in my hand. That's a longleaf, biggest ones in North Carolina. Can I keep it? Sure. He put it in his backpack, zipped it carefully. Emma stood beside me, arms crossed against the wind. Thank you for not giving up. I didn't do this alone. The general, he really came to the house. He did. Why? Because 16 years ago I carried him out of a burning street in Iraq, and he doesn't forget. She was quiet. Then, I wish I'd been more like that, someone who doesn't forget. You're here now. That's what matters. Jake came back, tugging on Emma's sleeve. Mom, I'm hungry. She smiled. First real smile I'd seen in months. "Let's get lunch. Dad, you coming?" I looked at them, my daughter, my grandson, standing in the sunlight. "Yeah," I said, "I'm coming." September came quietly. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday. Standard proceedings, no contest. Derek signed everything his attorney put in front of him. The house sold in 43 days. After the mortgage and fees, Emma cleared $67,000. She used part of it for a rental, 3-bedroom ranch on the east side of Fayetteville, older neighborhood, trees in every yard, walking distance to Jake's new school. She called me the day she got the keys. "There's something I want to show you," she said. "Can you come by Saturday?" I drove over at 10 a.m. The house was small, vinyl siding, single-car garage, front porch with 2 steps and a ramp someone had built years ago. Emma met me in the driveway, Jake beside her holding a bag of mulch nearly as big as he was. "We're planting flowers," Jake announced. "Mom says Grandpa's going to live here." I looked at Emma. She smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from her in months. "Not in the house," she said. "Come around back." I followed them through a gate into the backyard. Grass needed mowing, fence needed paint, but it was spacious. And in the corner, near the back property line, a small trailer. Single-wide, older model, white with green trim. Emma walked to it, opened the door. It came with the property. Previous owner used it as a workshop. I had it cleaned, inspected. It's structurally sound. She stepped inside. I rolled up the ramp, newly installed, sturdy wood. 1 room, full bathroom with grab bars, kitchenette. I had the doorways widened last week. Contractor said it meets ADA standards. I looked around. The space was tight but functional. Clean floors, fresh paint, windows that actually opened. A small bed against one wall, table and 2 chairs by the window, bathroom door wide enough for the wheelchair. "Emma, you didn't need to—" "Yes, I did." She leaned against the door frame. "You're not living in a motel anymore. You're not living alone. This is home, if you want it." Jake appeared in the doorway. "Do you like it, Grandpa?" I looked at him, at Emma, at the small space that was more than I'd had in 6 months. "I like it." Jake grinned. "Can I come visit?" "Every day if you want." "Cool. I'll bring my Legos." I moved in 2 weeks later. Everything I owned fit in the van. Emma helped me unpack, organized the kitchenette, hung curtains Jake had picked out, blue with stars. That night, the 3 of us ate dinner at Emma's table. Spaghetti, garlic bread, salad from a bag. Jake talked about his new teacher. Emma talked about a difficult patient at the clinic. I mostly listened. After dinner, Jake asked if he could do homework in my trailer. Emma said yes. He brought his backpack, spread his books on the small table, worked through multiplication problems while I read the news on my phone. At 8:30, Emma knocked on the door. "Bedtime, Jake. 5 more minutes? Now." He gathered his things, hugged me goodnight, ran across the yard to the house. Emma lingered in the doorway. "This okay?" she asked. "The setup?" "I know it's not much." "It's perfect," she nodded. "We're doing dinner 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. You're always invited. More often if you want. 3 times is good." "Okay." She hesitated. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "I'm sorry it took me so long. You're here now. That's what matters." She left. I sat at the table, looked out the window at the house. Lights on in the kitchen. Jake's silhouette passed by the upstairs window. Emma moving through the living room. I thought about the last 6 months. The motel, the broken wheelchair, the night in the church parking lot, the envelope Derek had opened with shaking hands. I thought about Hale's voice on the phone. "You earned it." I thought about Emma standing in the courtroom, saying the truth out loud. It wasn't justice in the clean, simple way people imagine. No one went to jail. Derek's business hadn't collapsed. He'd moved to Raleigh just like he'd planned, started over with a new client base. But he'd paid what he owed, and he'd lost Emma, lost Jake, lost the ability to pretend he was decent. That was enough. Saturday morning, October 14th, Jake knocked on my door at 7 a.m. "Grandpa, we're going fishing. Mom said to get you." I pulled on a jacket, transferred to the chair, followed him to the driveway. Emma was loading a cooler into her sedan. She'd borrowed fishing rods from a coworker, 2 simple poles, nylon line, hooks in a tackle box that smelled like rust and old bait. "You don't have to come," she said. "I know it's early." "I'm coming." We drove 15 minutes to Lake Raleigh. Public access, gravel parking lot, wooden dock extending 30 feet over the water. The morning was cool, mid-50s, fog hanging low over the surface. Jake ran ahead. Emma carried the cooler. I rolled down the accessible path to the dock. We set up at the end. Emma baited Jake's hook, cast it out, handed him the rod. She baited mine, cast it for me, set the rod in a holder attached to my chair. Then she sat on the dock's edge, legs dangling, watching the water. "You think we'll catch anything?" Jake asked. "Maybe," I said. "You have to be patient." "How long?" "As long as it takes." He nodded seriously, gripping the rod with both hands. We sat in silence. The fog began to lift. Sunlight touched the water, turned it gold. A heron landed on the far bank, stalked through the shallows, speared something too small to see. Across the lake, a dog barked. Someone's lawnmower started up, distant and steady. Emma pulled her phone out, checked it, put it away. No messages, no emergencies. Just the 3 of us and the water. "Mom?" Jake said quietly. "Yeah, honey. Are we going to be okay?" She looked at him. "Yes. Even without Dad?" "Especially without Dad." She reached over, squeezed his shoulder. "We've got each other. And we've got Grandpa. That's all we need." Jake thought about that. "Okay." My line jerked. I grabbed the rod, felt the pull, steady, insistent. I started reeling, slow and careful. The line came up, something fighting on the other end. Jake dropped his rod, ran over. "You got one." I kept reeling. The fish broke the surface, small base, maybe a pound, twisting in the light. I brought it to the dock. Emma reached down with the net, scooped it up. "Nice catch, Dad." "Beginner's luck." Jake leaned over to look. "Can we keep it?" "Too small," I said. "We throw it back." Emma unhooked it carefully, lowered it into the water. It hung there for a second, stunned, then flicked its tail and disappeared. "It's free," Jake said. "Yeah," I said. "It is." We fished for another hour. Jake caught 2 bluegill, both too small. Emma caught nothing but laughed when her line snagged on a submerged branch. I caught 1 more bass, bigger this time, legal size, but we threw it back anyway. At 9:30, Emma started packing up. Jake asked if we could come back next weekend. She said yes. As we walked and rolled back to the car, I looked over my shoulder at the lake, the dock, the water, the trees on the far side. No soldiers, no convoys, no envelopes, no courtrooms, just a Saturday morning, just a family. Emma loaded the rods into the trunk. Jake climbed into the back seat, already talking about what bait we'd use next time. Emma closed the trunk, walked to my side of the car. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah. You look tired." "I'm fine." She studied my face. "We're going to make this work, right? You, me, Jake, this new version of us. We already are." She smiled. "Yeah, I guess we are." She got in the driver's seat, started the engine. I sat in the passenger seat, window down, morning air cool on my face. Jake hummed something off-key in the back. We drove home in silence. At the house, Emma helped me out of the car. Jake ran inside to change clothes. Emma paused at the gate. "Dad?" "Yeah? Thank you for not giving up on me. You're my daughter. I'd never give up on you." She nodded, wiped her eyes quickly. "I'll see you Monday. Dinner at 6. I'll be there." She went inside. I rolled to the trailer, opened the door, went in, set my jacket on the chair, sat by the window. The yard was quiet. A squirrel ran along the fence line. Wind moved through the pines at the property edge. I pulled out my phone, opened messages, scrolled to Hale's name, typed. "We went fishing this morning. Jake, Emma, me. First time in years. Just wanted you to know. It's quiet now. The good kind." I hit send. 3 dots appeared. Then, "That's all that matters, Rob. Enjoy it." I set the phone down. Outside, the sun climbed higher. The day stretched ahead. Empty, unhurried, mine to fill however I wanted. No emergencies, no crises, no battles. Just the quiet, the kind you earn. I closed my eyes, rested.